All right, folks, I think I got something fun in line for you today. Can you improve the plan? Okay. I'm going to give you background on a specific individual. Okay. I've kind of massaged the numbers a little bit to protect the innocent, but this is a specific case, not an average of cases that, I've done in the past. So can you look at this and improve the plan? Okay. So let's get right into it. Okay. Joe is 60. Lisa is 57. Joe wants to retire at the age of 62, so I'm going to work 2 more years. Lisa's already retired. They got assets equaling $1 million, excluding their home. 401k, $800,000, 7% average return. Okay. Brokerage account, $100,000, 7% average return. This is what they're telling me. Okay. Savings, $100,000. Some of that's in a money market fund, some in the checking, some in a savings account, 3.5%. Home is $400,000, no mortgage. So investable assets, $1 million, excluding the house, right? Income, okay? Income. Work, $108,000 a year for the next 2 years, right? Social Security for Joe at age 62, $26.60 a month. Social Security for Lisa at age 62 is $1,050 per month, $44,500 a year coming in from Social Security when they both turn 62. Lisa's got 5 years to wait. Joe has 2. He's going to take it as soon as he retires. Again, this was a case of a client that contacted me, wanted me to review their plan. Okay, let's go over to expenses. Living expenses, $6,000 a month. Medical expenses, $500 a month. Sorry, $500. So $6,500 times 12, $78,000 a year in expenses. So let's kind of like high level take a look at this. You've got income of $44,500, starting a couple years, couple years into retirement. Lisa's money starts coming in. Use the 4% rule on the $1 million. 4% rule of thumb, right? This person says 4% of that's $40,000. Add my Social Security in of $44,500. That's $84,500. My expenses are $78,000. I'm good, right? Using the 4% rule. I'm good. So do you look at this plan? Do you think they're good? $1 million assets, taking Social Security there. Okay. How can you improve on that? So stop the video right now and give me 2 or 3 ways that you can improve this plan. I am going to go next to a new retirement printout. Okay. I'm going to go through the printout and show you how you can improve this plan. These are some things I asked this client to check into. Can't give specific advice, but you need to look at this. You may want to think about that. Okay. Now, just as an example, specific with this input, they had a 64% probability of success using Monte Carlo. Okay. Using all these numbers, the percent returns, this amount, how they were drawing down money, 64% probability of success. Can you improve upon that?
Promised. Let's take a look at the new retirement PDF printout. This is not the working website that, everything's interactive on it and there's a lot more features on it. This is a lot simpler to communicate in a video. Okay? Trust me on that. So this is the baseline report for average. Okay? So took all the data that I just reviewed on the whiteboard, and we're going to take a look at it here. Okay, the first thing I want to draw your attention to is the financial summary. Got about $1 million that inflates over the next few years based on the 7% return, and then kind of drops off here. I think they pay a little higher taxes when Joe dies off and Lisa's filing as a single tax filer, so that looks okay. And then let's jump down to income. The first thing I notice is, the red bars are Joe working, red, Joe working here. And then you got the orange is savings drawdown. So there's a big savings drawdown early on. So as soon as Joe retires, you're looking at taking 36, 37,000 out. The next year, you're maybe taking 70,000 out. The year after that, you maybe, let's just say 50,000, 50,000, maybe 40,000 here. So in the first few years, there's a pretty big heavy draw in the savings. What concerns me with Joe and Lisa's plan is their investments. They were getting 7% return on the 401k and 7% on the brokerage. That tells me they're pretty heavy in the stocks, and you're making a pretty sizable draw here. How are you going to handle a bear market? If the market goes down 50%, the year you retire, is all your money gone? So how are you going to protect that money? As you know, I've made several videos on this. I use buckets. I have 4 years out of the stock market, so I would have this first 4 years of draws in money market fund, CDs, treasury bills, something that was not linked to the market. So how are you going to handle a 3-4 year bear market? And how are you going to handle one that's maybe up to 8 years? And when I say bear market, that I'm saying that incorrectly. I'm talking about total recovery time. So if the stock market goes down 40%, when does it get all the way to the bottom, and when does it get back up to new highs again when you can pull out of it? So what's the plan there? This is an area of concern for me that I may take some of the money and put it in more protected. I would put it in a more protected investment. Okay. Let's jump on to expenses. One of the things that's just the next chart. Okay. So you'll notice, let's see here, get it on the screen. The expenses were $6,000 a month, if you remember, and it's adjusted for inflation, right up there with average inflation. We didn't talk about that a lot. I think I had optimistic is 2, pessimistic is 5. So average is in between that. So they just had just increasing in general reoccurring, and then orange is medical, and then estimated tax payments coming up here in green. So the first thing I noticed about this is this really how you're going to be spending money, Joe? And at $6,000 a month, just flatline till you die at 85. Well, the answer was no. Joe said, hey, I'm going to only spend $5,000 a month reoccurring. That's our normal living kind of stuff. Normal Christmas, normal little bit of travel, normal eating, utility bills, all that, going out to eat. I added $1,000 in there just to cover my go-go years, my spending, my couple extra travel trips with our free time. I said, no, wait a second. How long do you think you'll be doing that? And we kind of settled on age 72. So what we did is took the general reoccurring bar down from 6,000 down to 5,000, and then added $1,000 a month from age 62 to 72 for that go-go spending. And we labeled it go-go spending. So if the market's down a lot, you don't have to do that. But it's got $1,000 a month in there in go-go spending. And then at 72 to age 80, we put in slow-go spending, which meant, hey, let's put $500 a month in there. So a big change going from 6,000 till death to 5,000 plus 1,000 to age 72, from 72 to 80, put in $6,000 a year in slow-go spending. So breaking out spending to how Joe really thought he was going to be made a big difference. Pretty big difference. 64% probability of success using Monte Carlo to 82. Just with that one change. Hey, I feel a lot better at 82 than I do at 62. Okay, let's go back to income again. I wanted to draw out something else that jumped out to me is Social Security. Joe and Lisa are taking Social Security when they both turn 62. So here's Joe coming in when he turns 62, partial year, full year, then Lisa partial year, then full year, and then that just goes up to one of them until Joe dies. I think Joe dies earlier. So, hey, let's look at taking Social Security at full retirement age, 67 instead of 62, and see how that looks. As you know, Social Security increases 7 to 8% a year that you delay, and it's adjusted for inflation, not only on the base amount, but on the increase you get from delaying it. It ends up being a pretty sizable impact. So if you remember, we were currently at 82% probability of success, getting our expenses right. Changing Social Security from 62 to 67 takes it to 95% confidence. 95% when the Monte Carlo. Those two little changes took a 64% probability of success to 95. Huge, huge, okay? The next thing I want to cover, and there's a lot more things that go into in this report, but I can't cover everything. I'm going down here to page 18. Federal tax, income tax by federal tax bracket, okay? This is, color-coded, very simple to understand. 10% is a 10% bracket. So the first couple years Joe's working, filling up the 10% bracket, actually paying into the 20 to the 12. I will also note that with a simple selection, that you can go to the new tax rates that are expected in 2026. So don't worry about that. This makes an easier chart just to use the current tax rate. But notice these green bars out here that after Joe dies, Lisa's filing as a single and she's paying into the 22% tax bracket. But there's this huge gap in here, about 5 years, we're not paying any tax. So what about modeling, pulling some of the money out in these years, moving it to the brokerage account, pull it out of your 401k, move it into the brokerage account, or move it into a Roth, one or the other. I recommend Roth. But you pull it into the Roth, your standard deduction of $28,000, you're not going to, the first $28,000, you're not paying any tax on. No tax. You can't pass that up. And you could pay, fill up the 10% bracket very easily and avoid paying the 12. And if the Trump's tax cuts go away, that's 15%. So you'll save 5%. So huge opportunity in here to pay a little bit of taxes and avoid paying a little bit later on. So if you see a chart like this in new retirement, paying zero taxes is not a good thing. That means you're usually paying a lot more later on. So keep an eye on taxes. Okay, I'll continue on. Here's state tax. I'm in Indiana. You just put in your zip code. There's some basic information: 60, 57, live to 85. You got that. Here's Social Security where you can change that. Here's the income and increases that they're getting from income. Let's see, brokerage account. So here's where you put in your rates. Say pessimistic in brokerage is 5%, 9% optimistic. I selected average for this report, so it's 7%. Okay. So you can just model all these things. Here's where they put their expenses in, and what I would do, like I said, is I'd make this 5,000, then I'd add a period of time from 62 to 72 where I had a $1,000 a month expense, and then a period of time from 72 to 80 where I'm adding $500 a month. So this would be 3 lines long. Okay, here's where you can change the inflation rates, and then there's the home value, its appreciation, it calculates net worth, all that kind of stuff. Here's medical. So real simple report, easy for me to look at and make improvements. So again, two improvements we made, took it from 64% to 95%, and that's not even factoring in what tax opportunity we had in the first 5-6 years of retirement. You saw that. Okay, how does that make sense?
So how did you do improving the plan from the input I gave you on the whiteboard? It looked like that plan was pretty good, but you put it into new retirement, adjust for inflation, have all the moving parts work together, the early drawdown of the money, and it didn't look so good at 64%. That's why I love new retirement. Folks, take a look at the first link below, hit the show more, and you get a free 2 weeks of dual retirement. It's a game changer in not only seeing where you're at, but also in stress testing and trying to improve it. You can see we improved that last plan to 95%. So that person, Joe, would have maybe continued to work. If they had a 64% probability of success, may have worked 1 or 2 more years, where really by making a couple tweaks was able to retire on plan, okay? So let me know what you think of this type of video. This was an actual case. This was an actual person, and I'm trying to show you how easy it is to approve a plan when you have a comprehensive software package to back you up, okay? This is Joe out.